Let's get started.
For sure.
Why don't you tell us a little bit, and thank you for coming in, but why don't you tell us a little bit about the parameters of your district, the geographical parameters of your district, and why it is that you're seeking re-election?
Yeah, well, my name is Ricky Ruiz, spelled with an I. I am currently a second-term Oregon legislator representing District 50. Covers everything below Stark for Gresham and a little small bit and piece of East Portland. My district starts on about 174th and it goes all the way to the borderline of Bourne, Oregon, and down to Clackamas County. I don't get Clackamas County, but with redistricting, my map actually expanded a little bit more. So currently, majority of my voters are white voters. My second demographic is Hispanic voters, about 14%.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I born in Portland, grew up in Gresham since day one. Both my parents migrated from Michoacan, Mexico in the 1980s. They both were farm workers. My dad still kind of does farm working, but he's retired, as he says. My mom did farm working for over 25 years. So I come from a low income to a working class family. I've called Gresham my home since I was born. I was the first in my family to graduate high school. I was the first in my family to obtain an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, and hopefully soon to be a master's degree with all the free time I have.
What are you doing your master's in?
I'm doing my master's in public relations through Southern New Hampshire University. But that's been on pause for quite some time, just because I guess 24 hours a day is not enough. In 2017, I got elected as the youngest school board member for the Reynolds School District. That was 1 year after graduating college. I did that for about 4.5 years. I did a little overlap when I ran for Oregon legislature, and I got elected as one of the youngest lawmakers in the state of Oregon at the time in 2020. And currently, I hold the title of the youngest state representative in the House of Representatives, and I think I will continue to hold that title if things go well.
Are you still the youngest?
In the House of Representatives, yes. Senator Campos is the youngest.
Is Senator Campos younger than you?
Yeah.
What did you achieve in the last 2 years that you are most proud of?
It's a really good question. I come from a crime prevention background. One of my first jobs in the city of Gresham was crime prevention specialist. The emphasis of that work was trying to figure out how do we prevent youth violence and intervention. One of the things that I remember back then when politics kind of changed drastically in Gresham City Council, we were building bridges among police, community, fire, and then COVID happened. But one thing that we saw very firsthand is that youth violence prevention was something that was working. So myself, along with other city council members and other lawmakers, created the East Multnomah Outreach Prevention and Intervention Program, also a MOPI. It's not a Pokemon, I promise. But this prevention,
East Multnomah
prevention, intervention.
Prevention.
Okay. Yeah. East Multnomah Outreach, Prevention, and Intervention.
I see.
MOP. Did I do that right? East Multnomah Outreach, Prevention, and Intervention. Yeah.
All right. It does run. East Multnomah run.
Wrap
that. I'm just going to jump in and ask the obvious question. What does it do?
Yeah, so it actually is administered by the city of Gresham, and all it does is we partner with over 15 community-based organizations to do exactly what it says, is being able to prevent violence prevention among youth and families. It started with a $2 million investment from the state of Oregon. Actually, the $2 million investment used to go through a gang task force that was part of the Gresham Police Department. We saw some discrepancies there, but then we changed gears when I became a lawmaker and pitched it to the lawmakers and saying, instead of those $2 million going away, how about we invest it in our children and our families? We started with $2 million, and that one thing I'm very proud of is that we expanded it all the way east of 82nd with a $5 million investment through the behavioral health package that was passed this last session. So if there's something I'm proud of, it's definitely that.
What results are you seeing from it?
Currently, well, the program is in its infant years, but one of the things that we're seeing, at least in Gresham, is as of last Friday, crime has been down 9% compared to last year, that's based on the Gresham Police dashboard, which I can send you all that information if you need it.
Yeah, if you would send us over a little package on that, we'd love to see it.
Yeah. So it's an interactive map. You can see like shootings, theft, and according to the dashboard, 9% of crime has gone down since last year.
Great. What's the first bill you hope to introduce in the next session?
That's a really good question. One of the things that I'm really hoping to continue to work on is the individual development account program, continuation of that. We're going to introduce a bill basically asking the legislature to continue funding that program. And the reason why, it's not a new idea, it's just a continuation of a great idea. We've seen such phenomenal great stories about people who have been able to save up for their first time buying a home, opening a small business, saving up for college, or whatever they desire to do with that money. And we've seen a lot of progress in that. So that's one of the first things I'm going to be pushing for from the beginning.
What is an individual development account?
Individual development account is basically a savings program that is administered by over 50 organizations across the state of Oregon, and it is administered by a bunch of credit unions. Basically, you take almost a 1-year course on financial literacy, what it is to take out a loan, just trying to figure out how to be smart with your finances, and you are given a task to save up money through that time. So every so often they check on you, for the first 3 months you need to save $2,000, 6 months $6,000, by a year maybe $9,000, and if you complete the program and the courses, they match it. Okay. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Great. I'm going to be honest with you. We aren't going to have as many questions in this interview tonight because it's not a very contested race. That's my understanding.
It is though.
Is it though?
Yeah,
okay.
It is.
How
it
so?
is. We are seeing money from the Bring Balance to Salem PAC targeting not only my race, it was also targeting my colleague's race, Representative Zach Hudson in District 49, and Senator Chris Gorsuch in District 25. So we are seeing checks being written to our opponents. So honestly, I'm shocked that my opponent's not here.
I'm going to give you a free whack at him. Why do you think he didn't show up?
That's a really good question. I guess he doesn't believe in Willamette Week, or he doesn't believe in coming in front of a well established newspaper company to share with his constituents and our constituents what are his values and what are his visions as if he becomes state representative. So quite disappointing that he's not here.
So why are you a better choice other than the fact that you showed up? What separates you? What's the difference, you think?
Well, the difference is I was born in Portland but raised in Gresham since day one. I've rolled up my sleeves. I'm not complaining on social media. If I see an issue happening, I roll up my sleeves trying to figure out how I can fix it. That is why when I was in college, I saw a need for more soccer fields in my community. When I was growing up, we would break through fences, get in trouble by the police because we were playing in a fenced-out outdoor roller hockey rink. I don't even know what that was. But we would play soccer there, and I saw how many of my classmates were still doing that, and many of the kids, after I even moved on to college, are still doing that. So I rolled up my sleeves, built a set of futsal courts in Rockwood, and we've built a total of 9. That's one example. There was a lot of concerns and issues with 2016 election when Trump got elected, and a lot of families were worried about the safety of their students, the safety of themselves as well, and how safe were schools. So I ran for school board to reassure our communities that everything was going to be okay. As a matter of fact, I think Reynolds actually passed a resolution that we were a sanctuary school district, and everything that we were not going to collaborate with ICE or anybody because of the concerns we were hearing from our community. And same thing as on the Oregon legislature. I saw a need. As a school board member, we are only tasked with how much the state gives us to do education policy, education work. And I told myself, if I ever have the opportunity to go to the legislature, I will do that. And that's what I did. So over 7 years of public office experience, been a volunteer in my community for over 12 years. I get work done. I deliver for my community, and I am very aware that I don't only represent Democrats in my district. I represent Republicans, Independents, non-affiliates, people who can't vote. Everybody has their perspectives, and I always have an open door for them.
Do you have a place where you can point to where you've demonstrated independence from your caucus? Someplace where you voted in a way that like didn't necessarily please the party brokers?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of times where I had to switch my vote, and I was not happy about that. One of the examples was we're trying to pass basically, the Republicans did some bill pools, and they were trying to push for kind of their version of what a safe school should look like. One of them was basically creating a study of what school resource officers would cost public schools. Although I am neutral on trying to figure out what that looks like, because I think I've heard success stories but also unsuccessful stories about SROs in schools. One of the things that I did right away with actually the Republican leader is we found a relating to clause to a bill. We added that language to that relating to clause, and we actually went and testified on that bill the next day. The bill didn't go anywhere, but that was one of those bills that my party voted down because of the bill pool, and I went on and supported it, but it didn't go anywhere.
I see. So the party was trying to make a compromise, but you wanted to stand on the principle
Yes.
on the matter.
Yes.
What was the principle?
School safety, students. It breaks my heart every time. There's every week or every other week there's something going on with the school shooting, school
Yeah.
safety, right? One of the things that I sometimes have conversations with my family, my friends, and even some of my Republican colleagues is that they're so focused on trying to ban books. We need to ban assault weapons from schools. Our children's safety is number one priority, and that for me is something that I want to continue to work on, no matter who it is with or how it's gonna look. I have a 3-year-old kid that's going to go to school eventually, and I want her to be safe. I have friends that have kids that are already in the school systems, and sometimes they reach out and tell me, hey, there was a threat, or hey, there was a kid that was arrested with a gun outside the school building. That shouldn't be happening. So I stand on the principle of trying to figure out what's the best thing that we can do to keep our children safe.
Great. Sophie, any questions?
Could I ask a question of my opponent, even if he's not here?
Yeah. I'm giving you as many free shots as you want.
I was hoping I was going to ask him right here, because I was doing some research on his website and his social media and his voters pamphlet, and even some of my neighbors have brought the mailers that he sent out, and he prides himself of being a successful small business owner, right? And that's his thing.
I was looking at his voters pamphlet statement as we were talking.
Yeah, so my question to him was going to be, if he's such a successful small business owner, why is it that the Oregon business industry and the Gresham Chamber of Commerce, who are prominent in the business industry, are not supporting him?
Did they endorse you?
Oregon business industry stayed out of the race.
Mm-hmm.
He's a member of OBI. He's also a member of the Gresham Chamber of Commerce, and they endorsed me. That was my question to him.
That's a good sign.
I believe it is, but I want to hear his answer. But
what's the endorsement you've received in this cycle that you're most proud of?
Oh, that's a really good question. I'm always proud of the labor union's endorsements. I'm a Teamsters member myself, so having the endorsement of my own union is quite prideful. I mean, just imagine if Teamsters were supporting my opponent. I mean, that would.
Sure. Well, that happens to a lot of Democrats.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
The Teamsters aren't always like in lockstep with the Democratic.
But that would tell me I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And I need to reflect on what am I doing wrong, and how can I change that moving forward, right? My opponent, who's a member of the OBI, who's a member of the Gresham Chamber of Commerce, they don't see that value in him being a candidate, and they're supporting their own Gresham Chamber of Commerce is supporting me, and OBI staying neutral.
Okay. At the risk of ending this rather rapidly, again, we don't have that many questions. I want to ask you what is our fun question.
Okay.
This time around is, what were you known for in high school?
Oh wow, that's a really good question. Honestly, absolutely nothing. I think I was a very introverted person, so I would just go to my class. I was the kid that was always in the back seat. I think as I grew older, I started to kind of open up a little bit more. So a big part of that, it was teachers who had a humor, and I love humor. So I was able to crack jokes and started to feel more comfortable. But I'll tell you this though. If you were to ask my classmates, the class of 2012, what would it be most voted for, I wouldn't have been being a lawmaker.
Yeah.
I was the complete opposite of that. But here we are.
Here we are. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Of course.
I'm sorry we didn't have more to chat with. I'm sorry your opponent didn't come in, but
No, you don't need to apologize.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, that's a loss for District 50 voters that they don't get to hear about a candidate. And
Agreed.
We're here and we're going to deliver.
All right.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Representative,
Yeah.
pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. even stayed up late to look into this guy's website
Just
and everything.
research.
Yeah. Oh, that's my point. Oh, it's Omar. Is there pictures of anything?
Yeah, for picture. Let me get the photographer.
No, shut up. Well, I don't know those things. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thanks.